Hello, hello, this is Paper Cuts Included coming to you live from the Ninja Turtle Sleeping Blanket, and that's how you know it's legit. This is going to be another Under the Microscope video. This is actually going to be the second one in the series. If you don't know, or if this is your first ever video, this is a comic book art channel where me and my two co-hosts look at comic books, comic book art in general, and just talk about the fine points of it, how the execution, their overall. We don't look at comic book stories, we look at the artwork or artists themselves. So if you're looking for a comic book story review, you might be in the wrong place. But I'll show off some of my art real quick and then we'll jump into this book. I'm a printmaker by trade, so here's two prints I'm working on. One of these is inspired by Puma Blues, and one is just a fun little guy I'm doing for our local baseball team. So I'll get that out of the way and we can start looking at this book. This is Superman by Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely. Grant Morrison being probably one of the most influential, popular DC writers. Worked on books such as Animal Man, worked on that Arkham Asylum book, and many, many other DC books. Frank Quitely is an amazing Scottish artist. He has done work on this, a Batman story, and my favorite, We Three. I compare him to the artist Jeff Darrow a lot because they are very technical in theirs. There's not a whole lot of kayfabe. It's very technical drawings, and we'll see some of that. First, I do this in a lot of my videos. Is the cover successful? I believe it is. It's a great Superman pose. He's just sitting, looking out. He could have had him looking over Metropolis, but instead he's looking at us. I think it's good. I don't really know how I would gauge if you'd pick this up, because this book's probably going to be a pull if anything else. I love the new kind of Superman typography right there. That's probably my favorite thing of the cover, actually. But, it's a great cover. It doesn't break the mold with Superman books, so I'd give it a 7 out of 10 on covers. This is actually my first ever Superman book. I've never really liked Superman as a character or his concept. I actually, am more of a... I like characters who don't have superpowers more. So, for DC, I like Batman more than Superman. Like, my favorite Ninja Turtle character is Casey Jones, because he's just a normal dude trying to make the world better. I never really liked the whole, they're pretty much gods in their own universes. So I never really gravitated towards Superman. But I do love Frank Quitely. His We Three book I recommend for everyone to read. It's about cybernetic animals on a rampage, and it's probably his best artwork. So I wanted to check this out. I don't remember where I got this, actually. Yeah, it's some pickup, but I don't remember where I was at. Or this might have been a game exchange find. But no, this is a #1. I don't know how long this series ran. I think it was actually just adapted into an animated movie, the story. We'll talk about a little bit of the story. Like I said, I don't do full-on comic book story reviews. I do art reviews. So let's look at some Frank Quitely artwork. And I know I just said I don't do a whole lot of story, but I think this is the perfect way to sum up your Superman origin. Doomed planet, desperate scientist, last hope, kindly couple. Bam. You don't have to spend 1 or 2 whole issues talking about his origin. You get it all in 4 great panels. And I wonder if that was Grant Morrison or if that was more of a Quitely's approach to it, or how in tangent they worked. This is, I don't like this 2-page spread, because you can make the arm look like it's broken when you just flip it. I don't know. The more I look at 2-page spreads, the more I realize they're not that good. Like, this is probably a stunning piece of original art, but it just doesn't translate good to, just this little arm being cut off. Like, even reading it like this, the arm looks deformed like that. It starts off with some scientists. I think they're going to the sun. Turns out Lex Luthor's planted some sort of a sabotage, and Superman has to come save them. Here's our second look at the big guy. I will say Frank Quitely draws his Superman very chonky. He's dense. He's not a lightweight, which I guess makes sense. He's the Man of Steel after all. He's not going to be some Booster Gold looking, frat boy. He's he's America encapsulated. Like you can just from this panel compare how he did it versus how Frank did his Superman, you know, and a more slender versus we got chonky, kind of like almost how Alex Ross does Superman in Kingdom Come. They're stocky, they're built, you know, they got muscle. Pretty cool Frank Quietly panel right there. Frank Quietly likes to do these pretty interesting composition choices. How it's an open panel, and then you put these four here. I wonder if he drew this as a whole piece of artwork, and then also did each of these as a whole piece, and then just kind of collaged them together. I know Jeff Darrow does stuff like that. Flip another page. Here's our Lois Lane and our Jimmy Olsen. None too much to speak of. When I mean technical, I mean technical. Like, it's great building. This space is great. There's not a whole lot of kayfabe or tricks being done. He's just drawing people. He's great at it. I think his artwork's very stunning, very recognizable. I actually really like his X-Men designs. I know a lot of people hate them, but I really do, especially his Beast and Cyclops looks. It just, something about it I just really, really like. So, sue me. But no. One of my few complaints with his art, and it's not even him, it's whoever does his coloring, like, every time. I believe they not ruin, but really hurt his artwork. They muddy up the art. Like, his artwork is very crisp, and when you get these harsh red tones, I think it kind of loses it. Or really right here with that kind of horrid blue color. I prefer just seeing his pencils. Kind of like how I am with Jeff Darrow with some of his newest works, like Who'll Stop the Rain or Cruel to Be Ken. I like the pencils a lot more because they're or I guess pencils and inks, because they're crisp and you don't have to worry about this coloring kind of hurting it. Don't ruin a great pencil drawing by adding some bad colors. I think that's my takeaway from this video is, light table it, do 5 different color schemes and, ways. I will say this is a very interesting page. We have the 2 straight on Earth panels, and then anytime we cut to space, it's a crooked, and not the same crooked. It's getting crooked a little bit more, and I think that's really cool. Be wild, be outside the box with your compositions. Don't think you have to do whole pages like this. Do stuff like this, because to us the reader, makes us read it more. It flows more organic. It'll make us remember it more. If you do every page like this, we're not gonna care. It's gonna get boring really fast. Who did that? Oh, Jeff Loeb. Okay, and Tim Sale. Okay. See, we're gonna have to find this Frank Quietly and Grant Morrison, Batman and Robin. But here's another one of our big guy. I think that's actually the scrawniest he looks in this entire book, which I don't know. If I don't sound super enthusiastic about this book was actually kind of a letdown for me. I guess I was comparing it to We 3, and it's not a We 3. We 3 is such an amazing book that you have to read in person. You can't get its full extent online. I don't know if he was just rushed or if DC kind of neutered a lot of his wheelhouse, but it's a good Frank Quietly book, but it's not the best Frank Quietly I've ever seen. But we'll still talk about it. I still think if you like Superman, you should read it. If you like DC, if you read it. If you want to study good technical artwork, if you want to study bad coloring, if you want to study interesting panel works, do it. Like, see, here's some more of the open panel schemes with smaller panels in it. That's something you can do also as an artist. Don't just have solid blocks like this every page. And, experiment with stuff like this. It'll get you pretty interesting results. This book has a ton of ads, though. I know. Superman saves him, but oh no, turns out he's got like Superman cancer from it. So I guess here's actually like first look of Superman just being normal, which he draws a good Superman. I like his Superman. I think my favorite's probably Kingdom Come, which is probably a lot of people's. This will be my second one though. Granted, this is I guess the first ever solo Superman book I've ever read. The only thing else with Superman in it, probably Kingdom Come, or I guess it has to be Kingdom Come by Alex Ross. But no, it's interesting. He, like I said, very technical. This is a very technical face. This is something I could see myself when I took figure drawing, having to study and do. Not draw a comic book, but, study a face. But yeah, even that pose, that I'm sure that might have been a reference pose, some bodybuilder, because it just looks perfect, and it's so hard to do a perfect composition in comics. That one and that one, I'm sure he had a model for, or maybe one of those bendy figures, or he took Alex Ross way and made his own action figure. Like I said, so many ads. But no, like look at that neck. Look at that neck. He makes him chonky, which I think sometimes it's a little bit different. So there's a little bit of a consistency problem. But like this chonky is different than that chonky or that chonky, but still great. That's how I want my Superman to look. Make him look like he is the Man of Steel, not some lightweight, I will say one of the coolest aspects is how he does Clark Kent, the reporter. He makes him real oafish, the stereotypical like brown suit, unkept tie. He's slumped over in a lot of scenes. Like there, he's slumped over. No one's ever gonna guess he's the Man of Steel. They're gonna call him that lovable giant idiot. That's that. So I think he really captures that oath look a lot, and that actual like, well, how is he supposed to hide his identity? Well, he makes the perfect man an unattractive man. To Lois Lane, who's supposed to be this bombshell of a character. Why would she go after this guy who trips, falls, is the stereotypical dork? He's the dork reporter, except he's got muscles Jimmy Olsen only wishes he could have. And here's our last page of some Lex Luthor stuff. And there's a little bit, not too much. I hate this little digital typography. Typography in this is actually not really, besides the cover, anything to really write home about, which is sad, because who's the letters? Actually, does it say? Do we have a? I guess it don't say. Oh, and then the epilogue is 2 pages, where we continue to see the oaf-like Clark. He literally bumps into someone looking down the ground because he can't look at Lois. So, and then as soon as he takes the glasses off, he has that cutting figure, and he starts looking like a supermodel. But, compare this and this page to, or this and that panel to these 2 panels, or even that panel to that panel. 2 very different looking characters, from oaf to bodybuilder. And if you're trying to do a superhero comic and you can't figure out how to, make your character believable that he's, not a superhero, like his alter ego, study this page. Study the body language of Clark Kent versus Superman in this book, because it's a good little tool to use, And that's it. I guess this is gonna be a shorter video. I really want to check this out because I love Animal Man by Grant Morrison, and I really like We 3 by Frank Quitely. So I thought this book would be a lot better than it was. It was kind of a letdown to read. The art is good, but it's not. Oh, excuse me. It's nothing really to write home about. It's it's great Frank Quitely artwork. There's some panels that really show his strengths, but overall it was kind of a letdown. And I know this is the first issue, but there's not a whole lot of. I don't know. I feel like it's not a great first issue. It doesn't really. I don't know if it's just Superman the character is kind of bumming me out for it, but I wouldn't see myself coming back to it if it wasn't just to study more Frank Quietly art. Story-wise, I don't really care to go forward. You know, I don't have that pull in, but you know, we don't look at these books for the story. That's just something I personally felt. I would have to give this book a 5 out of 10. It's good, but it's not gonna keep me coming back, which is, you know, if you're trying to sell books, the biggest part. What's the back cover? Oh, Watchmen. Fun. And a Batman Arkham Asylum. I just beat that game recently, like a year ago, finally. But, yeah, that's, I guess, Frank Quietly and Grant Morrison's issue 1 of Superman. If this is your favorite comic book of all time, and I kind of just hated on it, I'm sorry. Let me know in the comments if it gets better, in your opinion. Let me know if the Grant Morrison Batman is similar to this or very different. I might think Frank Quietly gets to bust some more of his chops more on a Batman story, because it's Batman, it's at nighttime, versus I feel like Superman always has to have a brighter color palette and sometimes tone. You know, it's going to be a lot of your bright primary colors versus Batman, who's going to be in the gutters and have that really dark color scheme. That might actually be a cool video. Compare this #1 to that Batman #1. But if you've made it to the end, thank you. If you liked this video, comment what you liked. Comment if there's something you didn't like. Is there something I could do better? I know the audio is probably low. I'm working on that. I'm actually getting a semi-professional microphone instead of this Amazon bestseller. So thank you to all the people who have kind of stuck by me with all this crappy audio issues. It will be getting fixed probably in the next week or so. I just gotta get some scratch together to buy a new mic. But thanks again. If you like stuff like this, you can always, I think we're about to hit 20 episodes. You can like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be making a lot more videos. I'm going to be trying to do, not try, but there will be a new video Monday to Friday every week, and some weeks there might even be a Sunday episode. And, you know, depending on when this uploads, my mystery third co-host, who you haven't met yet, me and him might be filming something tomorrow to do a little talk about. That being maybe a planetary book? I don't know. We'll see. I guess you'll have to subscribe and see. Haha. But no, thanks again. Thanks to everyone who's watched this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you liked. Let me know if there's something I could do better. And I guess I'll send you on some marching orders, and I'm out of here. Make more art.